Showtime! The Capital G Show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So guys, a few days ago the OCG hosted this really big tournament and had a pretty large turnout, 110 players. It was kind of to kick off the September 1st ban list, and yeah, it's like a week early, but everybody's kind of sick of the last format and everybody kind of hates that shit. So players are obviously grasping for anything new. And the top 8, it had 6 different decks, and you kind of had the usual suspects in there: Gadgets, 4-Access, Infernity, Evil Swarm. But you could have probably never guessed what won the event. Final Countdown. Like, I saw that and I was like, what? Is this right? Like, is this real life? And I remember looking at the TCG ban list and thinking, holy guacamole, Batman. Like, Chainburn looks really damn legit right now. I've got 3 Duality. I've got no Shockmaster to worry about. I've got no Solemn Judgment, no Storm. So you can't go, Heavy Storm, wait for me to chain something, and then Solemn me. And I'm like, I wonder how viable these decks are going to be. But the thing about these decks like Final Countdown and Burn is the reason they can't be consistently good over the span of a format is because they're decks that rely on people ignoring their existence. Like, the more people are in denial about Chain Burn and Final Countdown, the stronger the decks are. They're just like the underpants gnomes on South Park. You go to regionals, you walk around, you see a couple of them, and you just kind of pretend that you didn't, and you don't want to acknowledge the deck until it's like right there in your face, still in your underpants. And I think that people, they take these decks lightly, and then later in the event they run into them, and then they get salty and they're like, oh fuck. And it's a problem that is easily preventable. I look at this event and I think that it should serve as the blueprint on how to get shit on by solitaire decks. There were 5 different decks in top 8. We had Countdown, Dragon Rulers, Gadgets, 4-Access, Infernity, Evil Swarm. So you had 5 different decks that were not Countdown. Want to know how many ran Trap Stun? 0. Want to know how many ran Royal Decree? Yeah, that's also 0. I mean, hell, Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, that's not even limited in the OCG. There were 3 Evil Swarm decks in top 8, and not a single person chose to run it. Like, this kind of reminds me of when I was in college. My major was electrical technology, and my teacher would tell us the same thing every day. You must always respect electricity, because if you don't, it can and will kill you. And I feel like if you took the word electricity out of that statement and you replaced it with Final Countdown or Chain Burn, this statement would still hold true. It's funny because these are decks that they kind of pop up out of nowhere at just random spurts in the format, and you're like, how can this deck top a YCS, or how can this deck top a regional, and then it just falls off the end of the earth, and then it just tops again, and nothing changes in the format. And it's because people ignore the deck. They don't side deck appropriately, and so on and so forth. So I guess this video is kind of just like a warning. Be advised, these decks are still out there, and in the TCG and the OCG, you could make a real argument that the decks actually got better. In the OCG, yeah, they still have to deal with Solemn and multiple, epidemic viruses and whatnot, but for Countdown, they've still got 3 Sarcos. And in the TCG, holy shit, you don't got Solemn, you don't got Shockmaster, you don't got Storm, you can't Solemn anything. I mean, it's just crazy. So I think that people need to take note of this. And the ultimate irony in this situation is the same cards that beat Final Countdown and Burn beat almost any back row heavy deck. I mean, you're going to side in Trap Stun if you play against TG Stun. You're going to side deck, Royal Decree if you're playing against Gravekeepers. So it's like you should be side decking these cards anyway, not just if you think that you're playing against one of those specific decks. These are cards that have blanket uses. I mean, they're good against a multitude of decks. So, I think that if you're going to your next event, don't be that guy who runs into me playing Chainburn round 8 and, you get 2-0 rolled because you cited some random shit like Retort, hoping that it would help in like a Fire Fist mirror match or something instead of running Decrees, because if you play against Chainburn or Final Countdown and you're not prepared, you're going to get 2-0'd extremely quickly. So let me know what you guys think. These decks are not dead, guys. I'm just saying, and they even got better in the TCG. So thank you for watching as always, and take care. Subscribing makes life happy.